Hey, it's Dave too. Back in October, I did a project with David Powell and a couple others, which ended up being called The Hidden Hand. We did release a debrief on it. David released the session on his channel. Someone today was asking me, like, dude, where's your session? Why didn't you post it? And that was like during my my little off time, so I just forgot about it. But yeah, here it is. So, okay. The tasker was David Powell. I was totally blind for this, 8184-2761. And the session is going to sound crazy because it is, but I have another session that backs up the craziness of this. All of us got weird, wonky, woo-woo stuff for what you would see in the tasking. It's just kind of cool. Like, it was a really fun thing that, like, you get something like this that's this serious, and then like all of us went off the rails with UFOs and aliens and, you know, 5-dimensional things popping in and out of space. It was awesome. So the tasking was that the remote viewers in this project will disregard any and all assumptions by anyone, because all of us have internal biases to these types of things. In the 2020 United States election, Donald Trump's campaign accuses the Biden campaign of voter fraud. The remote viewers will optimally perceive how such fraud actually occurred if it did. If voter fraud did not occur, the remote viewers will focus in on the discussion between Trump and his team to tactically deal with his losing poll numbers at the time. Remote viewers will be protected and unnoticed at the target event. Intention of the project: to identify if voter fraud on a large scale actually occurred in 2020, in the 2020 presidential election, or if it did not. Also, if voter fraud did occur on a large scale, to identify how this voter fraud occurred and by who or what group or affiliation. Interdimensional aliens is not something that you would expect to get back from multiple viewers, but that's what we all got. So my session summary here from the transcript of it was that I performed it on October 2nd, 2024. I began describing this after a period of limited practice. It took like a couple weeks off. Dave perceives a technological structure, metallic in nature, with a lopsided curved shape and 3 different levels inside of it. The structure seems to intermittently pop in and out of existence, and I related it to a sci-fi environment, referencing shapes and designs reminiscent of Star Wars and Star Trek. During the session, Dave encounters a non-human intelligence that explains their role in guiding humanity to create this structure for exploration and scouting purposes. He experiences various aesthetic and sensory impressions of the structure, including cold metallic surfaces, electromagnetic fields, and a quiet yet tense environment. The session ends with Dave feeling creeped out after a series of abstract conceptual connections, including mentions of a 5-dimensional aspect to the structure and militaristic implications. Off the rails here. Main points, describing the structure. Let's see here. I don't want to go over too much. That encounter with a non-human entity was pretty cool. We'll get some pictures of that in a bit. And it was basically about helping and guiding humanity. The helping hand, or the guiding hand thing that we're talking about here. The physical sensory impressions, all of that. I think this is all covered in yeah, popping in and out of existence. So there's a picture down here that I drew where there's this circular craft up in the sky, and it's like popping in and out of 3D space, but it's using like these higher dimensional things. If you get to listen to the raw recording after this, it's just cool. It's just cool stuff. Anything here that sticks out? Oh, I was just creeped out. Lots of AOLs, Millennium Falcon reference, non-human intelligence. Described this as the little baby brother. So like humanity and all of us are like their baby brother. And it was this in this like nasally robotic voice. So it was like, you are the next people in the galaxy. You will love the rest of this session because it's super fun. And yeah, I think, the sensation of being in this, you would think it'd be fun being in a UAP, just like you'd think it'd be fun being in like a fighter pilot cockpit jet. But my aesthetic impact of it is that it probably sucks. It's a little bit like that Space Monkeys one, right? Where you're like, wow, this is really cool. But like, nah, there's this sense of excitement and thrill, but also like it's stressful and it feels a little bit like a military operation. So maybe that's some Space Force stuff, right? Like maybe Space Force got involved with it. And it was about these little like dropping technological nuggets across time to help us evolve forward. And that's where we're going to get into this other session that I did a while ago that's on my channel called Future Proofs the Past. And it's all about like helping us evolve. The 5-dimensional thing felt like a Stargate. It had space bending around it. Obviously, it's something now that I've experienced in like a lot of different sessions and stuff. It felt like connected to like an abduction-like thing that was reported but not documented. And there were the structure itself had like 3 different layers to it. And there were areas that felt like observation decks where like we're basically being watched and observed, which is interesting. There's some more stuff on a project that we're about to record and drop here in a sec that kind of does the same thing. And all the appearances felt like Star Trek, the Orville, which is an awesome Seth MacFarlane Star Trek-like thing. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. And yeah, I have more weird, like mystical stuff. There's this weird, dark black stone female figure. It kind of reminded me of like Baphomet, which was interesting. And I think somebody else had something similar in their images, but I kind of just jotted it down because it felt weird. And then I think it matched up. But I kind of don't remember because it was a few months ago and I'm old. So, all right, getting into the drawings here. This kind of reminded me of that ship on Star Trek, or not Star Trek. It's like a Mario 64 game thing. I don't know. My brain never works for naming stuff. And yeah, like it was on that 64 and you like battled each other out and stuff. When I started building it out though, it was more like this type of craft. I tossed this exact top view of it into Midjourney and got a better picture below. I ended up doing like a side view and a front view because this thing was like solid in front of me, like very solid, 100% getting built out. Then this guy popped up and he was very, very nice. I like a little good chat that you can hear in the after notes. I had this would be this is not proprioceptive data. Like the alien dude was like here in front of me, right? Like literally here and stuff. This was a flash on my internal screen. So this was like an AOL scene of watching it skip across. So that was the random statue thing. I don't know what it was, but it was cool looking. Had a bunch of spikes coming out of it, very gray and cyberpunk. It was weird. This was a very clear, once I got like a little by location stuff going, very clear hallway type thing. And a couple of us drew the same thing where there were, I don't know how to describe it, like the corners and stuff. Like it's basically the quintessential walkway thing that you would see in a spaceship. I don't know why. And by the way, we're talking about election fraud here. This is probably the closest that I could generate to that, what I was seeing from the alien dude. And behind like what the craft would kind of look like. That's kind of like the hallway a little bit. Those were supposed to be full doorways, but you get the premise of it. And then this actually really good depiction just without all like the weird wonky stuff there. But yeah, it's basically what I was seeing. And then this thing in the sky, if it just skipped across. So some of the really cool things in here. I've mentioned it in the past. Every time you smell ozone, every time there's like freaking aliens involved. That's a key thing to go look for. There are lots of vibrations on this. It was reminding me, I think, of the colors of Europa with like the aquas, the bronzes, the blue and white, very coppery and stuff. There was an industrial smell to it. The outside was extremely cold. The inside was warm. And there were lots of electromagnetic sensations going on. This oscillating like womp, 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 sci-fi door sounds combined with like complete silence, which was interesting. And yeah, the movements, higher dimensional movement was like really the standout. And let's see here if there's anything else popping in and out of space, tunneling, teleportation, like being in a pilot's cockpit for the static impact, thrilling but stressful, really throw back to childhood nostalgia of thinking about this type of stuff. Defining this tangible thing, you already saw it. It observed in a black void with minimal surrounding context. So that there's a reference to another session that's not the session I'm maybe going to show you after this, but it basically was saying that these are like observation pods, that the craft kind of doesn't go anywhere in space. It's kind of just sitting there still, but everything else around it moves a little bit like VR or something. And I had that whole feeling like all over again, which is kind of cool. The intangibles were associated with exploration, scouting, and research purposes, connected in militaristic themes, such as a secret space program or coordinated efforts. The structure feels highly advanced and purpose-driven, with a scientific and observational focus. Non-human intelligence implied guidance in its creation, likening humanity to a little baby brother, as I mentioned. The purpose is evolutionary, assisting humanity while requiring effort to advance. I think I've already been over all this stuff. Yeah. Lots of AOLs. I did update this document, by the way, because I didn't start doing this, I think, until like the end of November. But yeah, I was like, go pull me all, because I still got in like my ChatGPT history. So I just searched the TRN and then found this. So first one off the bat was like Rocket League. Star Fox level in some sort of Mario thing that I didn't know it then either. The Batmobile, the sport mode for Bob Lazar, the color of the Statue of Liberty's copper, Star Wars Episode 1 pod racers, doors opening and closing with those like pistons and gas leaks, Millennium Falcon, double slit experiment, quantum tunneling, teleportation, United States Air Force, space Nazi vibes, Foo Fighters, like not the band, the World War II unidentified flying objects, flatland perspective from in 3D, Farsight, reference to the remote viewing organization, black spherical shape that changes or that moves or changes its perception, a flight simulator analogy. And the thing I was talking about with the UFO is the room where it's like in a vat of liquid and the UFO is in the center and it's actually not moving. That was kind of the thing. 5-dimensional Stargate door, the Georgia Aquarium with like a large observation glass, Star Trek in the Orville, curved rectangular, patented by the iPhone for that weird corridor thing. They tried to like patent the corners and stuff. And then that like weird fountain thing at the end. And I think that's it. Goes in the transcript. Let me show you why this is so weird. Well, it's weird that all the other viewers kind of got similar stuff. But in my Future Proves the Past one, I wanted to know why those Q dudes who are doing like the QAnon stuff, in 3 posts, it appeared to predict the Trump assassination attempt on July 13th, 2024, 5 years prior. So the Q phenomena has a thing called Future Proves the Past. And in this session, which I have uploaded here, I went and viewed that unblind. So this was like an F5 unblind viewing. I knew the tasking and stuff. And I honestly was just expecting what we got in the HBO documentary, which was that dude from Japan who was running Akun at the time. And what I got was this thing that like in 2106, there's this outside council egregore thing of non-human intelligence that's sending little data packets back. And each one of these data packets directs our evolution, right? So do we have free will? Yes, but anytime that they see it, it's the 12 monkeys concept with Bruce Willis. Anytime that they see what we're doing, they make a little tiny change in the butterfly effect, changes everything. There's the council with this dome. What's interesting is I tried to draw it, but there's all those colors, the Europe-y like colors in the very reminiscent of that hallway that I drew as well. And then this is interesting, the hidden hand, right? I think David Powell had Powell003 had something as well in a session. I should have gone and watched that before recording this. Whoops. But yeah, I drew this for this, that it was like the hand of God directing all of evolution and really controlling all of the things. They were our string pullers and we were the puppets. So yeah, apparently the 2020 election was stolen by interdimensional non-human intelligences, according to my data and everybody else's. Take it with a grain of salt if you want to. I just think it's a really fun session. It's really fun that all of us synced up on it. And yeah, hopefully the listen's good. I'll probably listen before I post it. So yeah. Anyways, I hope you find it entertaining, and thanks for watching. This is Dave 2 on October 2nd, 2024 at 8:31 p.m. Eastern Time. Doing a target for David Powell. My PI is that I've been kind of out of commission for a month. Probably done about 8 or 9, 10 sessions or something in that time. And just recently hitting. So if I totally whiff, no refunds. And yeah, let's get going. So it already feels like I can feel the time depth perception thing. It feels like it's to my left of when the tasking was, because it's been sitting in my queue for like 3-4 weeks now. So I'm just going to move to this, bringing that up here, executing my ideogram, saying target for David Powell's thing. The ideogram had like this, there's an aesthetic impact already associated with it, which is some sort of, it reminds me of these like space training things in Rocket League. There's this flat planar thing with a disc shape or like a semi-sphere circle thing. But it was kind of like a track or something. I don't know. Very technological and stuff. Very interesting and weird. Let's do it again. Target. And what it's doing is it's like wrapping straight back and then like around my head and back down. So interesting. Kind of shaped like if there were like some sort of metallic hook thing. I don't know. We're going to open this up as a data packet for the target. Opening this. My first impression is that there's something big and solid in front of me. So it's like angled, but it has lots of ridges. And I'm going to draw this out after the fact. It's kind of a flat top, and then it angles up, and then it's flat again. And then the whole thing kind of angles down on the sides of it. All of the shape of the Star Fox level in Mario not Mario. There's something where there's like a battle game. I forget what it was called. That thing. It's on the N64 and stuff. Okay. There's the structure. What else is here? There's a circular conceptual component to it that's very energetic. There's a platformed thing to it, which feels like it's like tri-level. What other gestalts are in the area for this thing? AOL, the Batmobile. So given that I have like 3 of these in a row, I think that that's the guessing game. So subconscious, let's not do that. I heard the voice sport mode, which is probably a reference to Bob Lazar. All right, we're going to take this structure. We're going to S2 it. There is a more AOLs. AOL of, and it came from this color brown. It's like a brown, bronze, metallic looking, shiny type thing that for some reason reminds me exactly of like a color from Star Wars Episode 1 Pod Racer series. And a couple of these things are like futuristic, metallic movement object thing that's quick. So this card, all that. There's that brown color, an aqua-ish color. So aqua and brown, AOL, Statue of Liberty, copper type things, AOL. Blacks, whites. So like black, white, aqua, and this coppery brown color. Texture, smooth, but there is some sort of, you know when something vibrates really fast and then it like makes your fingers tingle? That's what it feels like. Other textures, there's little ridges to it. It feels like a metallic object. Metallic. Because it's cold to touch, very solid, smooth. But it's not like super smooth. It's not like glossy smooth. It's like, I don't know, there's a bit of a matte to it or something. Smells. There's a pure oxygen or like ozone type of ozonic. During that, there's like a pressure sound. AOL, like those doors that like open in sci-fi movies and stuff. Like, psh, there's all that stuff, like pistons and stuff, and gases leaking, that type of thing. Tastes a rubbery, artificial, industrial sort of taste to it. Trying to remember when it's like this. It tastes like, I don't know if you've ever been to like a NASCAR pit shop or something, but there's this like rubbery smell in the air and taste. That's kind of like, I don't know, it just tastes like a super car shop or something. Temperatures. Cold on the outside, warm on the inside. Are there any extremes anywhere? Using my hands, typically like I'll feel like a burning sensation or like a burning sensation that I actually identify as cold. There is cold stuff to it, but there's more of this magnetic sense that I'm getting from it. Now I'm hearing a hum. That's cool. Like woom, 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 woom. Sounds. What do we got for sounds? Brain just like came down and locked a little bit. There is like a womp womp sound. Oscillation. Whew. It feels like there should be more sound than there is. Like it's deceptively quiet. Very, very quiet. The other thing is that even though I feel those magnetic fields, there also isn't like even right now in my room, I can hear the electricity in the walls. It's this high-pitched squealing sound. And if I go shut off the breaker or the power goes out, it's like beautiful, wonderful, perfect silence. It's awesome. There isn't any of that, though. Dimensionals of this thing. Long. There's a low-angled ridge thing in the middle. Feels lopsided. Wedged. Low angle. It feels like there's like a curved bottom to it. It's almost like a slightly squished circle or shield shape with this top thing to it. This is neat. And the size of it feels bigger than my room. My room's probably about 20 feet wide. It feels like it's almost, or maybe it is like 3 times the size of that. It's showing me the inside of the Millennium Falcon at some Disney park in Florida. I believe that's where it is. It's saying like that size, the size of the Millennium Falcon. That's a good AOL for whatever this is. Okay. Motion. There is a, this is probably leading into AOL drive territory, but the motion is like it's sitting in one spot and then it kind of like folds in on itself and then it pops up in another spot. Like AOL double slit experiment, AOL quantum tunneling, AOL teleportation, something like that. Cool, I'm still recording. Okay. Aesthetic impact. What does this make me feel like? There's a complex metaphor here, which all of it has to do with like my childhood. And it's kind of dating back to like Top Gun and these like dark scenes from Star Wars and stuff. Like being in a cockpit sounds super freaking cool to be like a fighter pilot or something. But then there's this like the real aspect of it is it probably freaking sucks. That's how it makes me feel. It makes me feel like really excited, but that there's also this like, I don't know, something kind of sketchy or raises your stress levels or something associated with it. All right, tangibles, intangibles. This is the tangible thing, is the perceived structure that we're looking at. What is intangible about it? Look inside. So yeah, obviously we should make a mimic man inside. What is intangible about this object? There's a view from like 30 degrees looking up from the ground and there's like a tree line and there's like something that like pops up there and it's like a little dot thing or whatever kind of slowly moving across the sky. So that would be like a visual AOL. What is intangible about this structure? This is a term I haven't heard in a while. USAF, is that like United States Air Force? But there's like a picture of water. So taking that as an AOL S5 deconstruct, it basically just means the intangible would be militaristic. What is the relevance of the militaristic aspect to this structure? Aware, known, coordinated. What is intangible about this perceived structure? If you knew it was happening, it would blow your mind. What is intangible about this perceived structure? All right, this session is officially going off the rails here. It would be cool if this is like a UFO target or something, but I have a grayish, but like a more elongated, bigger head alien looking dude thing all up in my space right now, just staring at me. Hello. Put you in a hand. Kind of like a robotic like voice, a little nasally. What can you tell me about this perceived structure? Something not supposed to. Sounds like AOL C3PO. Like, this is not proper form and order. I'm gonna reball. Push you outside. I'm gonna bring you into my reball awareness. This thing's like, what the hell is going on right now? I have brought you into my bubble. You're in Dave's bubble. What's up? What can you tell me about this perceived structure? In coordination, some sort of treaty. This is giving me like AOL, like space Nazi vibes, where like the Nazis met space people and they worked on Foo Fighters and did a bunch of cool stuff. And this is basically like some like futuristic evolution of that many years later. And there's some sort of purpose behind it. Tell me more about the purpose of why you would even do this. This is like me making friends with the ants and helping build tanks for them. We don't see you as ants. We see you as more of like a little baby brother. That's cool. It was said in like a different language, but I'm just able to like interpret it. What is the long-term goal of this? It's not trying to advance us too much. It's like you need a little bit of technology, so like drop in some nuggets here or there, but it's more like they made us work for it. It's using my own personal analogy in software. We have a thing called pair programming. And what I will do is I will hop on a call with someone, I'll screen share, or they'll screen share, and then I basically force them to learn it. But then I'm there to like help guide or ask precision questions. And that's kind of like the process. So it's like, you guys created this thing. We knew how to do it, but you still had to go create it. And we just kind of like helped you here or there. And it's some sort of like right or justification of evolution. That's fucking cool. What else can you tell me about this structure? It's not actually popping in and out of reality. It's showing me the flatland thing, but flatland in a three-dimensional perspective. So it appears like it pops in and out here, but on a higher dimensional plane, it's really making that, it's connecting it back to the ideogram where it like goes straight and then like you see it pop through 3D reality for a second and then it pops out. But like from a 5-dimensional perspective or something, it actually just made like a smooth trajectory, but it popped in and out of space. What else can you tell me about this structure? It's saying this is a really chill conversation. Like it was expecting something much more dramatic. I got that yesterday as well. Kind of a chill guy. It's now asking me like what our interest is with it. Well, we just don't know what this thing is, or there's just a lot of curiosity, which it seems to understand. And we're literally not trying to do anything with it besides just be curious. There's another thing that popped up that's like, man, you sound like somebody at Farsight now. What the hell is going on with you, Dave? Okay. What else can you tell me about the craft? Shit. It's just like, who said it was a craft? Good point, AOL Drive. What can you tell me about the structure? It's showing more like this black spherical thing that kind of like moves and changes shape. But it's not moving or changing shape. It's like the perception of it is that way due to some sort of aspect. Okay, big complex metaphor here. There's I once did a session on something like this where there's this room that was like a vat of liquid, and then in the center was this like circular UFO shaped thing, and time and space is moving around it, but it actually wasn't. It was like having a screen going around it in 3D space, but like actually 3D space bending around it to match that so you could observe it. But they couldn't actually get out and interact with the environment. So basically, like imagine I like walked into a flight simulator and then that flight simulator, instead of just simulating it, actually somehow like bent the space and time around it to make a whole. It's like you did this once before, but it's kind of like that, but not really. So it was going into some sort of thing about, is it drone technology? Are there entities on it? It's not that there's entities on this structure thing or like inside of it. It's that they're inside of it, but not. And it makes more sense in the way that I explained it in my other session. But this is kind of like, there's some like dualistic thing where that space is occupied by two places. It's almost like there's a door in there. Imagine there's like a 5-dimensional Stargate door inside of it, which you just walked around the corner and then you were on Earth. But if you walked back around the corner or through the door, just you're seamlessly like in the sky looking down. And it's basically saying that there's some like 5-dimensional door aspect there. And it's using the same door aspect on the structure itself. That's cool. Anything else you would like to tell me about this perceived thing? There's just a loud bump in my office, which is creepy. I'm super creeped out right now. Oh, so before that, it was showing me them like in the sky. It's like, we can pop over and show you. I'm like, oh shit, maybe not. Maybe not. What if I get abducted right now? That'd be crazy. And that thing just kind of like disappeared. He's gone. And now I have the creepy fucking vibes in here. Damn, I'm creeped out. Shit. Fuck. Okay. So there's this thing. There's a lot of conceptual stuff with it for the structure. When I go back to it, I zoom out. It feels like the tasking, there's an event associated with the tasking, but the intent of it is to focus on this thing. So all that I'm getting is like this thing kind of just sitting there in a black empty void because I'm just supposed to look at the structure. But then there's this conceptual thing that's like, take a look at this, but it's more of, I think this is in the last one for you as well. It's a collection of events. So I'm seeing like an averaged something for it. Is there a particular event that's of interest? It feels like there's an event that was reported, but that it wasn't videoed, or there's just something that leaves there to be lots of mystery about it. Does that make sense? So we're interested in looking into some specific event, but it's also connected to all these other events as well. Anything you tell me about that specific event? There's the tree line thing, the angle. It looks like a fairly clear sky. The popping in and out. It feels like an abduction story. Like the officers on that base at some point where like they saw the thing in the trees or whatever, and then they all like came and reported it. I am so creeped out right now. Jesus Christ. This hair on my arms is like standing straight up. Okay. What else do we got here? Wow. Do we have missing time? It's been 27 minutes. That'd be dope if I like open up the recording. It's been like 3 hours. I'm like, what the fuck? Maybe another time. Okay. Is there anything else that I'm missing on this? Come on, Dave. You can go so much deeper than that. Can I? Question, if I were to want to summon one of these things to my house, what would I have to do? If it felt like you have to basically like be a threat, and there's kind of nothing that we can do here to become threatening, and that we've already like de-escalated the situation. I, as an interest, do get seen as a threat, but then it kind of like instantly is like, nah. For regrets, it's going back to the purpose. The purpose is that we need this technology. It's kind of showing like expansion to within our solar system and stuff. It's still saying like we have very limited reach, even though we're popping through these like 5-dimensional spaces and stuff. But it's kind of saying like scout, exploration, getting our toes wet. Majority of humanity kind of is not involved in this. This is basically like a couple key things to do that. This is like secret space program stuff. That's cool. Anything else I would regret about this session? It's like, you didn't even go inside, bro. Move to the inside of this thing and describe. That's where it feels like there's the tri-layer aspect to it. And there's like viewing observation things with very large windows where the purpose is to observe, but it feels kind of like a screen, right? Or the way that we look at an aquarium. For instance, like the big Georgia aquarium with that big glass wall where like you're looking out at something, where they're in this protected zone that they kind of can't go out of, and they're observing something being like an ecosystem or life or whatnot, but they're sitting in like the protected play zone area. The tri-level aspect of it kind of feels a little bit office-like. Like there's a researchy aspect to it where, you know, it is fun, it is exciting, but it also feels there's a lot of paperwork involved of observing and documenting sense of responsibility, curiosity, some sort of like scientific thing, logs, and that whole jazz thing. Is there anything else? I'm getting like this really weird, dark black stone type sun female Baphomet like thing with 2 arms raised. I don't even know what the hell that is about. It's not even close to anything that we're talking about here. It's almost like a fountain, like an old Gothic church. Okay. Anything else? Or I'm just going to close it out and call it good and see if there's anything cool here. Oh, the inside of it. Nothing's really straight edged. So lots of curves, connections on like, there's verticals, horizontals, but like everything kind of has a curve to it. AOL, the iPhone shape, I think they tried to like patent a curved rectangle or something. Yeah, AOL like, lots of silvers, lots of lines, flat panels and stuff. Feels just like futuristic and stuff, like something you would see out of Star Trek or the Orville or something. Yeah, so to summarize, there appears to be a structure that's metallic, that is kind of lopsided shaped or whatever, and it's 3 stories or like 3 levels or tiers. It seems to pop in and out of existence. I met some sort of non-human intelligence that kind of said that they helped direct us to make it or someone to make it, and that the purpose is for scout and exploration. Yeah, this is crazy. So I'm going to end session. It is 9:03. Rest in peace.